All right, joining me now, attorney Leeza Garber, along with our very own Deirdre Bolton. It's really amazing, and some of the comments the judge just made here, I find fascinating because, I'm a layman, and most of the folks watching, and there is this sense, Leeza, that something is wrong, though, that there's got to be something perhaps illegal or unseeming in the sense that these are giant companies and they know every single thing about us and they profit off of it. People are concerned about that.
And they should be. I'm going to disagree with some of the judge's comments because not only does our use of Google or Facebook or any of Amazon, these giants, it's not free. It's definitively not free. Not only are we giving up our expensive, valuable data, but we are driving up the costs of these products that are being advertised on Google and Amazon and Facebook by getting those eyeballs on those pages.
Deirdre, your passion for technology,
yes,
you follow technology, you know it like...
I do agree with the judge in the fact that to complain that a company is making so much money, or even if you want to make the argument that it's a monopoly, okay, fine, that's what these lawmakers are beginning to say. I think that from a legal standpoint, you'd speak better to that part of it than I would, is, okay, that's an issue. And we saw Microsoft, for example, suffer from that, if that's not too strong a verb, 1999-2000 in the EU. They said Microsoft is a monopoly, it has to be broken up, and then it took the company about 10 years to re-find its footing. So I think as far as from a legal standpoint where these companies, and if you own the stockholders could be in trouble, is if there are people who say, okay, these companies are monopolies. And there is an argument to be made, especially for Google and Facebook, which together control more than 2/3 of the U.S. online ad market. As far as sharing and what they have and what they don't have, we use it for free. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned, but there is this kind of implicit contract between the user. Now, maybe people can go back and say, oh, I didn't realize they were going to be able to have every single search that I ever did, know which emails I put in spam, know which emails I didn't put in spam. But at that point, that's sort of crying over spilled milk.
But that's part of the difference. I think that you talk about an implicit contract, but there is an explicit contract. But consumers and the government, we really have no control because we're using these big four, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and we really have no meaningful choice. Google controls 90% of our online searches. Facebook has acquired 70 companies.
So you're saying we accept the terms because we have no other alternative.
Exactly. We have no meaningful choice, and that's why these are so
other ones, though. I mean, there are private, if you really want to go off the grid. I mean, there's a few that have servers in Geneva.
If you know how to download Tor and things like that so that you can be an anonymous searcher. But generally, the public's using Google, they're using Amazon, and there are real problems with how these big four are operating. They do bring in a huge amount of profits. They're a great target for the federal and state governments to get their piece of the pie, but there is something wrong here.
But I would just argue, does that, just because consumers are lazy, does that mean that it's necessarily the company's fault? I'm not sure I agree with that. What I might agree with is, okay, can the next generation of Google come up, and does it stifle competition?
But what seems to be happening, though, Deirdre, is that they've made so many acquisitions, these companies, that if you want to use Instagram, then you got to kind of, links to Facebook.
Well, it's owned by Facebook.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And, or Google Mail. It's easy if your job has it. It's really...
All right, I'm going to say something crazy, Charles. I want to say something crazy out loud right here with you. I actually think the more regulation that comes, the easier it is for Google and Facebook. They have the money, and you just maybe... They have the money for the lawyers. They send people to...
It puts a moat around the industry. You're saying it'll stifle competition even more than it is right now.
I disagree with that because Europe is already eons ahead, and some people are saying their activity is anti-American because these companies are all American-based. But at the same time, they're looking at user privacy, consumer data, all of
What's
these
the
major
solution
issues.
then, Leeza? I mean, what would the legal remedy be for something like this? Are we talking about going as far as breaking them up?
Right. I mean, for antitrust in that field, we could talk about unbundling.
It sounds like I love Ken Paxton, but it sounds like he's not even sure. It's like he's like, okay, we're going to get together and investigate, and if we can find a crime, we'll have us,
That's part of the problem. We don't know exactly how they're operating. Google, their MO used to be, we want to get you off of the Google page as soon as possible. That's what their co-founder was quoted as saying, because we want to get you to the right place, that we're the search engine. But now, most searches stay on the Google page because you have Google Shopping, Google Travel, Google Air. You have all of these different services that are within Google. Same thing for Amazon, too.
All right. Leeza, Deirdre, thank you both very much. Great conversation. Appreciate it.